Well, another month has passed, and another issue of Fight Club 2 is out. This is issue number 4. You'll notice that I got the variant cover this month. The regular covers of each issue are being done by David Mack, and then there are between 1 and 2 different variant covers coming out every month. Personally, I thought this variant cover was better than Mack's actual regular cover, so I got this one. Sorry if the lighting sucks in my house. But anyway, we got Tyler there, armed at the ready, a rise or die van. Marla there is in the back with one of the little girls from her support group. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm going to read this and then give you my thoughts. Well, that was an issue. Alright. I don't even know where to begin with that one. We last left off. Tyler runs the organization, Project Mayhem, Rise or Die, whatever it's called now, when Sebastian goes to sleep. Sebastian is narrator, that's what they're calling him in the comic book, so I might as well just call him that. Sebastian finally gets into the Paper Street house after waiting his 3 days on the porch. Wait, let me start earlier. Aside from what's going on with Tyler and narrator, Marla was barely in the last issue, so in this issue we follow what she's been doing. And it's meta as fuck, because she keeps going to clubs that have names that are sort of like Fight Club and have rules like Fight Club. There's a bite club, which is at a restaurant. There's film club. First rule is you don't talk about Rosebud, things like that. Which seems to be a commentary on the people who have never seen Fight Club or read the book. But if you've heard of Fight Club and you haven't actually seen the movie or read the book, you know the famous line, which is the rules. The first rule, second rule. So it's sort of funny on that. And then completely going into meta territory, and I don't actually quite like it that much, Marla goes to the house of Chuck Palahniuk. Palahniuk, the author of Fight Club and of Fight Club 2. And Palahniuk is there with a group of writers, Chelsea Kane among them, and he basically just gives Marla the address to a house. The address goes to Quilt Club, where all we see is that women are opening up envelopes and they're getting assignments for... Basically, it gives a place on Earth and the name of some sort of rebel or terrorist group. So one woman's like, oh, something in Mogadishu, and they're like, have you ever wielded a machete? So apparently something is going on in which people are recruited to join weird third world uprisings or something. Yeah, Marla is being tagged along with those children who age really fast. That's the support group she was going to. And since they get nowhere going to all of these, I don't know if they're Fight Club offshoots or Fight Club ripoffs that she's been going to and finding no help, the kid has an idea to go to like the fictional version of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And all of the kids in that group decide that they want weapons and they want to be sent to a war zone. So it's like, I want an AK-47 or whatever. And so by the end of the issue, Marla and one of the girls are in the middle of the Congo under shell attacks from Boko Haram. Okay. Apparently, also, Tyler did try to pretend he was narrator and attempt to sleep with Marla, but Marla caught on once Tyler started going down on her. So that also happened. That this issue's not quite linear time-wise. But yeah, so narrator gets in, shaves his head, he's working in the kitchen, someone asks, are you going to Fight Club tonight? So he goes to the bar that Fight Club is happening at in the basement, and none of the young kids want to fight him because they think he's too old. But then a guy who looks really beaten up starts coming up, and narrator is sort of like, well, this is what I'd look like if I went to Fight Club every night for the past 10 years. And they're in the middle of the fight when narrator realizes that this is Angel Face, the beautiful blonde kid that he broke the rules of Fight Club to continue beating on. In the movie, he was played by Jared Leto. Pugs is very angry. So I'll shoot the cover. You don't want to see me. So yeah, and it sort of ends with the narrator getting his face beat in. We don't know who wins that fight yet, but narrator wants to win the fight in order to rise in the ranks and get information about where Junior, his son, is. So this one moves the plot ahead. It has a lot of meta humor about sort of the cultural relevance of Fight Club to non-fans, which is basically just that they remember the rule and puns on or play on the rule. Palahniuk puts himself in there. Again, it kind of reminded me of when Stephen King put himself in the last couple volumes of The Dark Tower, I believe at least book 6. Yes, tell us about that. But in that one it worked because there's different universes, and so the Roland the Gunslinger goes to a universe where Stephen King is real and has been writing The Dark Tower. Here it makes no sense. You're just breaking the fourth wall to sort of be fun, and yeah, I didn't particularly like it, but whatever. So, wasn't a big fan of how they decided to break the fourth wall to bring Palahniuk in there, but alright. So, yeah, not much Tyler in this comic. This is mostly catching up with Marla in this weird strain with these young kids who want AK-47s to go to like the Congo and to join ISIS and all this stuff. It's really weird. I still don't quite know where they're going with this. Yeah, but this was definitely moves the plot forward. You bring out a character. For a second, I thought they were going to bring back Bob, even though Bob is dead, because Marla answers a phone call, and her caller ID pulls up Robert Paulson. So I thought that was kind of interesting. In fact, he might be back. I'm not sure if Angel Face, because there's a panel earlier where a guy who looks pretty beaten up is going to Palahniuk's house, and Palahniuk's dogs are barking at him. And at first I thought it was Bob, and then I thought, well, it kind of looks a little bit like Angel Face at the end of the book, but it's possible that both of them are still alive. I mean, it wouldn't be unheard of for an author to bring back a character they previously killed off. I'm thinking of Ian Malcolm. Michael Crichton brought him back for The Lost World, even though he killed him in the Jurassic Park novel. Yeah, so this issue is, aside from my issue with Palahniuk putting himself in there, it does a good job. It's funny. It plays on how Fight Club, the movie and the book, have sort of had a weird cultural relevance, even to people who aren't fans, or even to people who aren't particularly that familiar with it. They've at least just heard of the movie and heard the line. It's definitely adds some more absurdist humor. It throws in extra stuff for the fans. I didn't expect to see Angel Face again. And had good artwork, so this is actually, of the 4 issues so far, this is probably the strongest one since the first issue, despite my reservations. And yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I thought they were going to have just a female Fight Club, but this is taking it sort of in a weird direction as far as what Fight Club shot off of. And I sort of like the weird ageism that the Fight Clubs have had after 10 years, that these clubs still go on in the organization, but it's mostly the young guys, because Fight Club's where you start off and then you move on to Project Mayhem. So the guys who already look like they've had some were at the Paper Street House. So yeah, I guess I'll end it there, and see you next month.